I guess to keep moving forward with the guitar, he plays the hemp green one a couple times on 2017.
Oh yeah, not many times, right?
Yeah, he brought it out though, if you remember, for the European shows with his own band. He brought it a couple times. And then, if you guys remember, we get this show from San Francisco that was a live stream that Metallica was headlining. And we see a guitar, and we see, oh man, there's no F-hole. Well, it's not, you can't go in it.
Yeah, now we really move forward.
Yeah, now that started a whole other debate. Was the guitar a fully solid or still semi-hollow without the F-hole, just a decal? And that opened a bag of worms. And then he still played that guitar for the winter run of 2017.
By the way, I was a bit bummed when the pictures came in with the F-hole. It seemed like a sticker first. It isn't a sticker.
No.
I was actually bummed because I thought, why did they change it now? They sold 100 of them in the sunburst. They sold 120 now in the green, and then now they change it. Why? Why do they do that?
Yeah.
But we've kind of discerned that it was a real F-hole on that guitar now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a lot of speculation, and PRS has a forum as well, and their customer service is very, very active on there. So there was a huge Super Eagle thread, and this discussion filled a lot of it. And at some point he came out with saying that it's an actual semi-hollow guitar where they plugged the F-hole with a piece of rosewood after carving the inside, and then they carved the rest of the guitar. So it's just having an inset in it that is done with manufacturing the guitar itself. You can't put it in afterwards. You have to do that when actually CNCing the body.
In terms of sound for John in the Super Eagle, plugging that F-hole, or I guess the open question to anyone, what would that do to the sound exactly?
Yeah, I mean, there's a video where Paul is talking about sort of plugging up the F-holes early on to kind of, I think when they were making the decision on going with the F-hole or not, and I believe he said that they took like wooden dowels and just stuffed it, packed it in real tight and then played, and they in the lab environment said they really couldn't tell any different. I mean, I personally think that you would hear like an acoustic quality to it, but then when you're plugging in, and I think that helps with how you feel and how the feel of the guitar. I know that John was playing a lot of that silver 594, and that was a full solid body too. So I'm kind of curious on if he was sort of liked the feel of that solid body and then wanted like a hybrid Super Eagle solid body, kind of like that 594, that silver 594.
Yeah, I think the story with the wooden dowels went a bit differently. I think Paul says in the video that he sent John, or John requested to try to make a semi-hollow Super Eagle solid body again, and they sent him these dowels and he put them in, but he shook them right out again because it wasn't working. That's what I remember. And on the other hand, if you look at the development process of the Super Eagle, it goes back and forth between semi-hollow and solid body. It starts with the solid body, I believe. It goes semi-hollow once and then goes back and goes semi-hollow again before coming out at the end. So,
and I think for a lot of us that, at least when I saw back then when that was coming out, a part of me thought that maybe they were going to do a Super Eagle 3 that might be like a solid body or something.
Well, then let's say we keep going. He's still playing the covered up F-hole 2017. 2018 comes. He goes back and forth. Some shows semi-hollow, or the same show semi-hollow or semi-hollow with the covered F-hole. But then we get, or maybe before that, we get a pseudo Super Eagle 3 in the Special 22 semi-hollow, which maybe they realized the demand was so high for that guitar, how can we change it so it's more accessible but still keep that style guitar in the catalog? And
They are, if you look at Ryan's, they are drop dead gorgeous guitars. They're incredible.
Yeah.
I've played one of those. I've never played a Super Eagle, but I've played one of those before, and if it plays and sounds half as good as the Super Eagle, they're ridiculously good guitars.
Yeah, and you can't really blame PRS, right? They are a company, they have to earn money somehow, the demand is there, so I would have done the same probably, but it would be interesting to know what went on in the background, behind the scenes.
You have to talk to John.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
On our next episode. Yeah, the 24, I think it's the 22 special, right? So
yes.
There was a lot of things in my mind. I was like, all right, well, I missed out on opportunity. I mean, it wasn't in the cards for me to own a Super Eagle. So it was like, looking at the landscape of PRS and trying to do like the Jerry thing, mix it in with the John thing. And then there's some people online that actually took those special 22s with the middle pickup and then tried to do their own electronics and rewiring it. And a few people reached out to me and was like, how do I do this? I'm staying away. I don't even know. Just don't. No, let's stop. Let's wait. Let's play the game.
Yeah. Even people ask me like, oh, how do you get the Jerry sound, or how do you get that same Super Eagle or Jerry sound out of the Special 22? Well, a lot of people do is put that middle pickup so it's alone.
But you can't. But you can't isolate. Oh, you can. No, right. No. I don't think you can isolate the middle pickup. So it's like, I gotcha. Once again. So there's rewiring forums and things like that. I haven't personally dived in, but
I've seen a lot of people who rewired the Special 22 to have the Super Eagle switching, to have the standard Strat switching, so to speak. So you can select just the middle pickup.
Yeah.
Even also the middle pickup isn't splittable in the Special 22. That's another main difference. If you look at how John uses the middle pickup, it doesn't work. And it's got the wrong number of frets. So
right, and I think the scale length is different too.
Yeah, standard scale length.
Yeah.
The scale length, by the way, that's something that throws me off because it's so unique and it's so non-standard, and I have no idea what they wanted to do with it.
And the really fun part of that for both of us was figuring out, well, what makes that sound? What are the variables that contribute to that sounding like that? So scale length.
You don't.
Jannis, do you use 10 gauge strings on yours?
This is completely original spec. So this has 10 gauge. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I use.
Gabe, what do you run?
Usually 10.5 to 48.
Yeah, 10.5 over there.
Yeah. So and this one currently has, because I bought the wrong string gauge at Guitar Center, has 10 to 48. So basically a 10 set in the high 3s and then an 11 set in the bottom 3. And it sounds great. I mean, going the high strings are a little loose for me sometimes. But sometimes Jerry would use 11 gauge strings, which I kind of want to put on here. But then again, at that point, it'll sound maybe the same and feel a little different, but I guess the question is, do you want to feel more comfortable bending with a little less tension, or do you want to be able to bend and play all single line stuff? So 10.5, I think, are the perfect gauge for this guitar.
Yep, I have 10.5 on my custom 24 as well. It's great.
Yeah, I have 10.5 on all my guitars as well. Yeah.
I didn't bother to change them yet. So these are not, of course, not the original strings, but these are just 10 gauge.
Yeah, same spec, yeah.
So we've gotten onto the Special 22, and I want to talk about a little later, Ryan, your ridiculously incredible build that you did. I remember when you were doing that and you were showcasing on your Instagram, I was like, so am I buying one of these and shipping it to your door?
well, seeing Ryan's, I still think today about putting a middle pick in my Les Paul.
Yeah.
And getting a Strato blaster for the Les Paul also. But
man.
That scares me sometimes. But yeah, it's my crazy thought.
Yeah. I think we're on this, because right around then they did John had a lot of different guitars from 2018 to 2019. And mid 19, he had that black Super Eagle thing. Do you remember that at Hollywood Bowl? There was this black, or maybe the set opener. Well, there's pictures. I put it in our thing for later. But he came out with like this black burst Super Eagle looking thing, and then really where I sort of jumped into the idea of routing out a brand new PRS was seeing triple humbucker full size with like the DiMarzio looking pickups, and during that was June 3rd, 2019 at the Hollywood Bowl, and there was they zoomed in and this Justin in the picture in the album, I uploaded a picture. There's these tiny little holes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I was like, oh damn, now I'm on the hunt. And then sure enough, I was like, at this point, John's did his own thing, and now he's going full triple humbucker. Maybe there's some correlation between what he did. Maybe he's coming around and looking at Jerry's gear a little bit more. And then I was cruising, I joined all the Jerry Facebook pages and all the Jerry Gear Lounge Facebook pages. And then there was a big discussion about pickups and dual sound versus Super 2s and all this stuff. And then sure enough, in the late 70s, early 80s, the dual sound had those two holes in it. I mean, there's a few other models of the DiMarzios, but the dual sound was key to find that, because now I'm like, I think that in that triple humbucker had dual sounds, aka just like Jerry. And I think that set the stage from that point on to seeing the triple humbucker. I don't know if they're PRS or if there's something else, but now they're not the black round ones, but they're like super shiny.
Mm-hmm. There's a photo around where you can read the engraving on the pickup cover on the Honey guitar, and they are actually 5815 JM pickups, so the same as in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and secret, 95% the same as the 8515s in your Pesudo Eagle.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember you and I going back and forth, Jannis, on when I first got this guitar, because I left the stock neck and the stock bridge, and then because he's like, yeah, no, don't even waste your time buying new pickups for it. Just keep with the ones in here, that you have in your guitar. So
yeah. Again, I have this custom 24 with the 8515 pickups, and electrically, when you listen to them just amplified, they are identical. There's not much difference. And I've checked with the 5815 LTs in the 594, compared them against these and the 8515s. The difference is marginal. Of course, the 5815s are numbers. 5815 LTs are coming out at the bottom. They are the low turns. And the 8515s are on the top, by the way. The 5815s are the same as the 8515s, just with the cover. And the JM pickups are right in the middle. They just hit the middle. And if you go with the 5815 LTs or with the 8515s, doesn't matter. It's both 95% there, and you can't get any closer.
It's good to know. So we're talking about Honey, and that's kind of the guitar that John has almost exclusively started to use now with the Dead & Company, which is really weird because we see Super Eagles being used, and then all of a sudden just a switch almost right to a 3 humbucker guitar. Good evening, everyone, and I hope you all are doing well and enjoying the start to Season 2 of the John Mayer Gear Lounge Show. Before we get back to the regularly scheduled program, I wanted to take a minute here in the editing to go over Honey in a little bit more detail and some of the development process that we know. When I was doing the editing for this video, I was going back to the My Stupid Mouth forum and looking at all these old pictures and trying to find really interesting ones to overlay for you guys in the video. What I did notice for the first time was that there was a post made by Omega OJM about the McCarty 594 that actually eventually became Honey. This is something that I don't know how I missed and I'd never seen before. So all credits go to this person, and they have an amazing eye for detail, as you are going to see another example of their work later on in this video. Omega OJM, I know you watch the show. And I haven't actually checked in with you to see if you're in the lounge or not, but it's because you have one of the best eyes for detail that, you know, any John Mayer gear fan has ever seen. So moving on, I'm going to break down here this diagram that Omega OJM made, and again, all credits go to this person. So let's get started. We know that Honey started off as a PRS McCarty 594. What is really crazy is that John did an Instagram live from his house on May 26, 2019. If you look on the left picture here, that's him with the guitar. And if you look at the flame on the top of the guitar, and then you look over at picture 3, you'll notice that the flame matches exactly. For example, if you look at the bridge, right above it there's a rather thick space with no flame. You look back at the other picture, and it matches up. And every other picture of Honey matches up completely. So we now know that this guitar that John is holding that he used in that Instagram live is in fact the bass guitar that was used for Honey, the exact guitar. So we know that as a PRS McCarty, it started off with the regular toggle switch, 2 humbuckers, and 4 knobs. Now, on June 1st, 2019, here's one of the earliest, I believe actually the earliest picture of Honey that we have, and the first time John used it live. This was Shoreline Night 2. Now, what's incredibly interesting is that it took a week from him doing this Instagram live to actually playing the guitar as Honey. It took 1 week for them to route everything and change bits of the guitar to make it into Honey. So we know that the first stage of Honey, it changed from 2 humbuckers and 4 knobs to 3 humbuckers, 3 knobs, and 1 toggle switch. Now in the fall of 2019, Honey changed again. It went from the 3 knobs and 1 toggle switch to 2 knobs and 2 toggle switches. So now this is something that we definitely missed, and I had never even honestly seen before, so Mega OJM, again, credits up to you. This is incredible, and I thought you guys would all be interested to know that we actually have a picture of Honey before it was modified, and that there have actually been a few different stages of Honey's modification down the line as John has gotten more used to it. I guess we're going to see, hopefully going forward in 2021, if John continues to use Honey, if he's going to use any of the other new prototypes that he's been building, or something new completely. Anyways, you guys, I thought this would be kind of cool to touch on the last bit of Honey talk for this episode. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show. Do we, besides him, I know Ryan, you mentioned looking into and trying to do a bit more of a deep dive into the Jerry thing and wanting to be maybe a bit more true to Jerry's tone. We know that he's stopped even using the J-mod with the deadened cone. He's been using old Fender amps now, which is really cool. Do we think that there is a possibility of development of a Super Eagle 3 coming down the line, kind of based around Honey, or is that John just being like, this is my own kind of thing, you know, haha, you guys can't have what I have on stage anymore again?
I love it. I hate it when he does that, by the way, because it's like as soon as you get close to something, and you know, maybe it's by design, maybe it's just, you know, genuine and authentic, you know, being himself and looking for that next thing. You know, I would throw my vote in that there would be a Super Eagle 3. I do hope, you know, if PRS is listening, there's one that's a little bit more affordable for everyone else. But, yeah.
So that kind of rounds off 2019, I guess, before COVID. The last kind of shows with the Grateful Dead were with Honey, I believe, right?
Yeah, and that one... what was it, Halloween with that weird burst.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Is that black burst on Halloween?
Yeah, like black and blue. That was pretty out there for, I think, even that was very traditional PRS color.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we are now. Honey, and then also the Travis Bean. Oh yeah, the black one. Where those guitars are a trip to play because when you pick one up, it doesn't feel good. But when you start moving your finger and the aluminum neck gets warm, you can play super fast. You can play anything on that guitar afterwards. And yeah, into those vintage Fender amps, and then at the end, that massive Dumble. So we can only imagine what he brings out next.
That was a really exciting time on the My Stupid Mouth forum because there was like a couple of new guys to the scene on that forum, and they were just like, whoever you new guys were just blowing the seniors out of the water, trying to like track down. Like, oh, the Travis Beam was bought in Brooklyn, and if we look, here's the serial number. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know who. Like, I want to give all that credit to that person, right? I don't know if it was Justin or someone. Or there's an Omega JM. No. I was blown away. Like, wow, that was amazing. So John was in proximity, so they found in Brooklyn this guitar, the Travis Beam, and I was on like the Discord server for the Grateful Dead guys, and they were all blown. Like, their minds were blown. Like, John's playing a Travis Beam. Oh my god,
that was insane when they tracked that down. I remember reading that, being like, holy crap. This is another level of discovery, but it's crazy that they were able to do that.
Yeah, maybe there'll be an aluminum neck Super Eagle next. I don't know.
Some sort of hybrid. Ooh. So we've kind of talked about the history and the birth and John's use of all the Super Eagles, into the fact that now he's not even using really a Super Eagle. He's using Honey, this new kind of hybrid thing. So for people wanting to actually go out and buy a Super Eagle, I know, like we talked about in the green room, we've kind of discussed this already, but what are your options for wanting to go out and buy Super Eagle? Like, let's talk about prices of them on the resale market right now.
Well,
you've got to have three things. You've got to have luck, you've got to have money, and you've got to have patience, because these things are rare, and even rarer as to get them as a reasonable price. At the moment, there are two for sale. One Sunburst one, like Gabby's, and one like mine. It's actually in Germany, that one. But both, we discussed it before in the green room talk, both have rather an unrealistic price. So it's difficult.
I have it up here on Reaver. The most recent looks like hemp green one, I think 6 months ago sold for $14,500, which I think is
slightly above resale.
Yeah, slightly. Some people are selling special 22 semi-hollows with Super Eagle in the title. But
that's how you do it. John Mayer in the title, Super in the title.
I think that was a discussion on the Gay Lounge, someone saying John Mayer guitar when it wasn't a John Mayer guitar. Then a Sunburst one recently, let's see, this was a year ago, $17,500 plus $300 shipping. We have to realize also a lot of these guitars are mint condition, rarely played.
Collector's grade kind of.
Yeah. So I guess the question is now, let's say, what's your budget? If you want a PRS, really, maybe a Silver Sky, maybe. Because also you don't, maybe it sounds kind of mean, I don't know how, you don't have to play the same gear that he plays. A lot of it comes down to how you play. If you know how to play your instrument well and the style of that music well, you can play anything, basically, I think. If we're talking PRS, I would say maybe the the Special 22 semi-hollow. That's a great one for the look and everything. Silver Sky, great guitar. Even Fender Strat, obviously, with more vintage style configuration, maybe. Now the question is, do you want to dive into the Jerry territory? Well, if that's the case, you can look at Eastwood Guitars. They made a Wolf copy that was pretty cool. That a student I teach on Zoom has one, and it sounds incredible. And if you want to go ultra high end, then you can get a Libra guitar, which is $24,000 for a Tiger replica, or you can get a Scarlet Fire Wolf replica, which is about $10K and has a 2-year waiting list. Yeah, the Libras, they make only, I think, Tiger, and they're about $24,000. Or you can do your own thing, get a Les Paul, and like I talked around before, use that the middle position, and you just configure the pickups differently. Keep the bridge pickup harder than the neck pickup, and that can give you that tone as well. Not exactly, but I mean, who cares? Not exactly. It's how you want it to sound, and at that point, it's okay. The whole system, what pick you're using, how your touch, the amp, the EQ on the amp, tone controls. But I would say, if anything, get a single coil guitar, Silver Sky Strat, and you're good to go, I think.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and then the other question is, depends. I'm very much a person that says use the most of what you have. So if you only have, let's say, a 335, figure that out. Try maybe put on the EQ, a ton of treble, less bass, a little bit of mids, and figure how to get that sound with that amp, with that guitar, and whatever amp you have.
Going again fully against the philosophy of the John Mayer gear launch, but Gabby is right. You're absolutely right. Figure your stuff out. That's always better than buying new stuff.
And then,
he went away and he got the Silver Sky.
He's going to give the demo.
So remember, gear, tones in the gear.
Yes.
I think that's all of our next tattoos. Tones in the gear.
Yeah. Make sure you have the box.
Yeah. So you
absolutely.
If you have your Silver Sky, I mean, you can put it in the, let's say, middle and bridge pickup, and if you use your fingers or whatever you pick, use however you pick. Now it's a little weaker, so you got to turn the volume up on your amp a little bit more. But it gets you there. Here's the middle pickup. Let's say we can do. It gets you there.
Yep.
Then at that point, it's turn up your amp. The tone, I mean, the Jerry tone is clean, so you won't need a ton of volume. But you want to get to the amp where the amp is working, and then you manipulate everything on the volume controls and the tone controls. But you can get there with this guitar. I mean, he did that demo with the red Silver Sky in his studio, and it sounds just like it.
Yep.
And he even plays the Silver Sky like he did at Shoreline last year on Bertha, the opening song of Night 2 at Shoreline. And it sounds just like it. It's a different tone, obviously, but you're good to go.
Yeah. So the choices are extensive. And to narrow it down maybe a bit, to give some gear advice here, if you really go for, just go for the sound, stick with Gabby's advice and get something like a Silver Sky, something like a single coil guitar. Try what you have, try to make the best of it. But if you really want to on something like the Super Eagle, it becomes a bit difficult. And I think there are just two options basically. The first option is the Special 22 semi-hollow, which looks a bit like the Super Eagle. Sorry. You can have it in even more colors, which is nice. And if you're a bit handy with a router or a router, as you say about over there, then go ahead and do the same like Ryan did. Get a CE24 semi-hollow. That's even possible in the nice Tempest green. This is officially hemp green, but it's basically the same. Yeah. And route what you so put three humbuckers in it. Maybe you get an aftermarket narrow field pickup from eBay, put that in, get the switching right. The options are limitless. Unless you want something that's unique to the Super Eagle, then good luck. It's nearly impossible. Look at the headstock shape. I've got pictures where you can compare the Super Eagle headstock with the normal PRS headstock. You can't get that. Try to get the scale length. It's impossible to get that. Try to get the exact pickups. Forget it. It's impossible. Yeah. The electrics.
Oh yeah, there was a comment in the post yesterday. Someone asked about the JCF Preamp, and it's like if you look at the JCF, they make studio equipment. I think it was. Yeah. So they probably had to do a totally new design and say, how can we get our preamp in a quarter size, maybe, to fit in this guitar? And then I guess maybe, if you're John Mayer, okay, then we'll do it for him because he's playing Madison Square Garden on his own, selling out. So I mean, it's not the nicest answer, but they're going to give you one because you want something like the guitar. Just get a Strato Blaster. That would fit also.
It's some kind of a preamp. It's some kind of special thing. It's not that special if you look at it closely. Ryan can vouch for that, I think. What I know is that the JCF guys and the PRS guys won't tell you what it is. And what I know is that the JCF guys won't make you one. So you're out there on your own. If you can't access one, you can't replicate it. I'm sorry. And it's impossible to get the same, but it's possible to get something close. And you can check Ryan's videos. He put a clone buffer in, and that's getting there. So there are some possibilities. If you're handy with a solar iron and the router, you can do stuff.
Ryan, Ryan, can you touch on anything like your experience with electronics, and can we hear about your experience taking your semi-hollow 22 and transforming it into?
Yeah, totally.
Now this is, dear viewers and dear listeners, this is a John Mayer Gear Lounge podcast exclusive. Ryan and I checked, and this stuff we are now going to talk about is nowhere else on the whole internet.
Yeah, so it is, interesting, and I'll start off with sort of the research and going, and I guess one of our My Stupid Mouth guys, right, Bamba, him and I just go on and on and on. Like, I'm pretty sure my both of our wives are just like, who are you talking? It's like Jake from Steak Farm, late at night. Jake from Steak Farm, really. But that's Bamba and I. So him and I sort of were the ones that found that pickup, that middle pickup, after diving into the Jerry thing. So this is a CE24. PRS came out with these, and I was sort of interested because I knew the scale length of the PRS. The normals is 25, and that's I believe what this one is. But then you got the 25.5, and then you get the 594 that John played. And he played, one of my favorite tones is actually that silver 594. I so much love that. I was like, maybe I can buy a 594, strip it, and paint it. Because that's such a good tone. He played in Hartford, and he did China Cat. Oh, man. He hit that reverb from the Reverberato with that guitar. It was amazing. But anyway, so I was sort of chasing that scale length, trying to take all the variables, scale length, the guitar. Is there enough room to put a full pickup? Because remember, in 2019, he had the full 3 humbuckers. So all those sort of things I had to route it out. But what I ultimately ended up with is doing the familiar Strat switch. So if you look behind me, I'm very much a Strat guy. This is my first PRS, really. I had a Silver Sky for a bit, but it was so much like my other guitars, I couldn't justify it. That's just me. But I was really interested in owning a PRS eventually. So lo and behold, the CE24s came out. It felt like a good experimental guitar, and also, mocking up in Photoshop. I'm like, oh, I could put a switch there. Oh, I could put, 3 toggle switches in here, just like the Super Eagle. And then there's the electronics. And then I did, route it out. And for anyone that's a do-it-yourselfer, don't do what I did and hand route it, because there's one video right off the bat, you see like the guitar body going all around. And I got so lucky. And the only thing was like this tiny, tiny scratch at the top. But this thing's been amazing. I've had a lot of compliments on it. And then as far as the tone, I mean, you can watch the videos for sure. But I experimented between the Super 2 and the dual sound pickups. So again, those are the 2 that Jerry used. And I prefer the dual sound pickups. It's a little bit fatter. The Super 2s are pretty bright. I believe they're a little hotter too. Sort of like going into the Jerry world is interesting, because it's all about JBL speakers and Super 2s for pickups, which is kind of cool. And then the Alembic preamps, and you can really go in pretty deep. As far as electronics wise, the JCF preamp, it is very close to Jerry Garcia's Tiger preamp.
Would have thought.
So, it's very close. It uses the same chip, the 5534N chip in it. So I don't know how much I'll disclose here, but I will say that eventually, maybe there'll be something in the works where something's a little bit more accessible to everyone else. You know, my philosophy is that if something's out of production and you can't buy it, you know, for a general period of time, then that should be a little bit. And again, circuits are very rarely patented and copyright. It's all about like the layout, because that's considered artwork. Again, all these little things adding up. And I also want to be a good partner, because I want to help protect PRS intellectual property and stuff like that. So a lot of rambling on. What other sort of questions about the do-it-yourself? Oh, and by the way, I'm really salivating. And I think if I had a choice between this guitar and the new, I think it's the SE594. Have you guys seen that from PRS?
Yeah.
The S2, you mean?
Yeah, the S.
Lower series.
Yes, the S2. That's got the scale length of you know, the 594, which is I think Honey, right? What's the scale length in Honey? Do we think? Is it a 594?
Honey is based on the 594, so
Yeah.
Must be 594.
So okay, check mark. 594. Oh, and by the way, the S2, the price is right? $1,400, and I believe they come in the McCartney burst. Okay, so the three things, and there's definitely room to route out your center pickup here. So if I was to go out and I was still to do this all over again, I might actually go for that S2 594. And what's kind of cool is one of my online followers, Herman, he got me this custom-made Eagle.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like a Seudo Eagle, and yeah.
That looks amazing. With little RC.
Yeah. The little RC, yeah. So yeah, this is my love for this guitar. I play it a lot. It's very versatile. It's not a Super Eagle, but I think it does the job with the amps, and it kind of comes back around. I think this was the guitar that made me say, you know what, I don't need the Super Eagle to enjoy playing guitar. I mean, this is more enjoyable because I can do the little switches.
Right,
it's fun to,
right.
it's fun to
Tone is in the gear. Tone is in the gear.
Tone is in the gear. Look, I mean, it's in the scale length, actually. It's I'll go one side, and then you can be like Billy Corgan and say it's in the paint color.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look that up. Tone is in the paint color. Yeah,
the color of the LED and the pedal.
And the color of the LED in the pedal, for sure.
Well, it's the tone of that new black Klon. It's not that it's modded, it's that he spray painted it black.
Yes. It sounds like
But Ryan, I mean, you did a incredible job on the design of that. Like I said earlier, I remember you when you were posting pictures of the build and everything you were doing. I was following it before we had ever really met. It's just amazing, like how you did and how it looks as if it would have come like from the factory in that way. So I mean, you did an incredible job, and I just can't say that enough.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's sort of where I began, which is wanting a tone or something in my head for tone, and then not being able to afford it. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I have to build it, and that's sort of how that is a reoccurring theme, especially as you look around me. Yeah, that's sort of the impetus behind it all. So I appreciate it, and you guys are awesome too. You're real super, Eagle owners out there, and maybe one day they'll do like a Ticketmaster verified fan for the next Super Eagle that goes up for sale, right? So you could be a verified fan, and to get the good seats and less likely to resell your ticket as a scalper.
Classic.
I think that's like one of the only times I've ever seen Dead End Company up close is through the verified fan. So I think that process works. Maybe PRS will adopt it. Since they're smart business people and don't put serial numbers on limited release.
There you go.
By the way, what's the current,
thank you, Justin.
What's the status of your electronics in the Pesudo Eagle?
In the studio right now, so because I'm so behind on my projects, I'm doing the TS10. I'm working on an analog delay right now that everyone loves and wants but can't buy. So I'm looking to replicate that, which has totally taken me off track from installing the JCF Preamp that I do have the schematic and all the information for. So keep a lookout for that. And on the Tone Geek.
And
Yeah, make sure you guys are all following at the Tone Geek. We'll post links below to keep updated on that.
You'll see it there first.
So now we've talked about kind of the whole history behind the Super Eagle, kind of some differences between the number 1 and 2, experience purchasing them, Ryan's version, and kind of where we're now at with John and Honey. Was there anything else in terms of the Super Eagle that we've left out that we need to discuss? Or the questions on the Facebook post, did we hit all of those?
I'll pull them up right now.
Yeah, maybe let's go through the questions.
Yeah.
The pickups says, how do the pickups handle things that are a bit higher gain? We talked about that. Is it a versatile guitar, or does it nail just the Jerry thing? It's a versatile guitar. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Jannis said it hits absolutely everything. And that's
it's a PRS after all, and you can play hard rock with it, no problem.
Yeah, and not that he uses the neck pickup a lot, but I mean,
even metal.
Right, that's this neck pickup. You go to the classic position 4, split the neck, split the neck. You can do. Right, do that. We talked about why do you think John prefers Honey over the Eagle?
Have you already given your Super Eagle to Ryan Lopez?
No, not yet. Talk about the pickups, traditional scale length.
FO sticker, we covered that.
What is the preamp? We covered that. And then we covered the last great question, what's the difference between the pickups, 5815 and 5815 LTs?
Yeah, as I said, the 5815 JMs and LTs are very similar, as well as the 8515s are. And if you just go for amplified sound, then the 8515s will get you there, 95%. It's just a small change in the output.
Yeah.
I have one question, actually. Gabe, if you hold up your Super Eagle, like the body, what can you point out like to the different switches and what each one does?
Yeah. So we have volume and tone. 5-way switch, neck, middle, bridge. And then all these switches, they just split the coils for each individual pickup. And then what looks to be the bottom one on this sound is the EQ, which now it's on, for example, and the treble boost the top one only can be engaged when the EQ is on. And that goes like that. So you can't have the treble boost without the EQ on. And then we had I think Gen 3 trem, which is actually locking. So I don't know if you can see, but there are like some small screws in the saddles that just lock the strings in on the bridge more. So I guess so it doesn't go out of tune with the trem.
Yep.
And then these all come set up with the trem pretty flat against the body. You can still give it a little warble, but nothing. You can't do like a really dive bomb. I mean, you probably can. You have the tremolo arm on.
Yours is actually higher than mine. Mine comes.
Oh, really?
Mine came really, really flat. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe this way around.
Oh, yeah. Same with mine, I think. Mine, but I know mine. I haven't changed it. Mine, you can do like you can get the.
No way.
So while we're talking about the trem bar, do any of you guys ever use the trem bar? Because I know John doesn't really. I say John like I know him. John doesn't use the trem bar even on the Silver Sky really at all.
Oh no, mine is still here in the case in the PRS hardware bag.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, rarely do I. He used it a couple times for like Passenger, like 2016, and sometimes on Slipknot and like Space when he's doing some weird stuff, just with the trem, but nothing crazy.
Right.
I did though. Slightly off topic. Eric Johnson on his Strats uses 4 springs, and he's a very proponent that he likes one I think on the low side, and then 3 together, without the gap in the middle. So I tried doing that on this guitar, and I can't take the springs out. Maybe I'm not trying hard enough, but I can't take the springs out.
I think they are hammered into the block, as far as I've seen.
Same with the pickup cap, with the control cap. I tried taking it out, impossible to take out.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a copper shielding all around the cavity, so you have to actually pick it up somehow.
Yeah.
I made a scratch in the plate when trying
Classic. Yeah.
So I blame Ryan for that.
Hey now. My first secret.
You actually have to pick it up, and then you can take a look into the rat's nest. But I've attached pictures, so Justin.
Well, that was awesome, guys. I think
That's
we touched
yeah.
on everything with the Super Eagle. Ryan, Jannis, Gabe, thank you guys all so much for hopping on the show and discussing this incredible guitar. And I know it's not quite within Mayer, like you say, his own touring style, but the Dead and Company has become such an integral part of John's playing and who he is as a musician, being so inspired by the Grateful Dead and their tones and everything. In order to really understand John, you have to start to dive into a bit of the Grateful Dead. And
I think John also said it best when he said, the Grateful Dead will find you when the time is right. So if it's not now, it may find you.
It feels that way, so.
Yeah, and maybe in Europe too, it would be a big wake.
I still think that I got to go see a show, at least, with the Dead and Company, and experience it. Maybe then it'll really hit. But for a lot of us, maybe it finding us was when John got involved in it.
That's true for me, at least. I didn't really care to listen to it. Made fun of it a lot of times. And now I'm like, I can't wait till the next ticket drop. Sign me up.
It'd be fun. Well, you guys, hopefully you all enjoyed this episode of the John Mayer Gear Lounge Show. Season 2 is officially begun, and we shall see you guys on a weekly basis from now on. That's how Season 2 is going to be structured out. Thank you guys all so much for watching, especially if you stuck it out to this end. Again, Gabe, Jannis, Ryan, really appreciate you guys making the time and coming on and talking, sharing your input. That was awesome and a really great time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome, guys. Take care, and we'll see you guys all on the next one.